All right, everyone. Thank y'all so much for joining us. We'll give it a couple more minutes just because I want to make sure that we give everyone enough time to be able to make the call. We should be able to get started by 6:05 at the latest. For those of you who have your camera on, thank you so much. If you don't, you can love to turn them on. If you're willing to pay for it, it's really nice to put face to all of our recipients.
Friends in here actually. I can ask them. Oh wait, but if I join it from there, you guys won't be able to see it. Unless you want them to see it.
Hi, y'all. We're about to get started, but if y'all could do me a favor, if you're not muted, can you go ahead and please mute yourself? Thank you so much. So welcome everyone to our first ever virtual scholarship recipient. We're gonna go ahead and get started. This is our program for today. We're gonna start off with MCs and welcoming remarks from yours truly. Then we will move on to our keynote speaker, followed by recognition of scholarship recipients, finally open mic and sharing your stories. And lastly, we'll end with closing remarks. So, hello again. My name is Florsario, and I am a fifth-year graduating senior majoring in Business Management Information Systems and minoring in Chicano Studies. I currently serve as controller for associate students, and it is my complete honor and privilege to host this event today to honor all of the AS scholarship recipients. Like everything else, this year we had to move to a virtual space, but my hope is that all of you feel recognized tonight. You all deserve it. Feel free to order your food now if you haven't already, or chat Kylie Kim, our Director of Business Affairs, if you are having any issues with your Grubhub code. Now, a little bit more about who I am. I was born in Oaxaca, Mexico, and brought to the United States when I was just 2 years old. At the time my parents decided to embark on our journey to the United States, I don't think they knew that a decision based on hunger and necessity would lead to their daughter being a soon-to-be graduate from, in my very biased opinion, the best university. For those of you who do know me, you know that I'm very Spartan-spirited. I am literally a walking SJSU billboard, and I think campus should start paying me soon for all this free promotion I've been doing. But this pride wasn't born out of nowhere. It stems from the fact that I have never failed to find resources and mentorship when I needed it most. As an undocumented student, financial strain has been the biggest impediment between myself and a college degree. But every time I was short on tuition or a book was too expensive, someone came in to give me a helping hand. And oftentimes, that was in the form of a scholarship. And I cannot emphasize enough the amount of joy I'm currently experiencing, as I am on the opposite end of things. This time, instead of receiving a scholarship, I get to award a scholarship. And I don't know which one feels better. But what I do know is the positive impact a scholarship can have on a student's journey. To all of our scholarship recipients, I hope you take the time to celebrate your award. This year, the amount of applications we received for scholarships were greater than the amount of awards we could give out. And though every applicant was special in their own way, you all really stood out as the most deserving of these scholarships. Again, congratulations. Now I will be introducing our keynote speaker, Mr. S.T. Saffold. On May 18, 1944, in a very small town in Mississippi, Mr. Saffold, the 11th child born to his parents. There were no twins. His mama was 35 and his papa was 37. 2 years later, having relocated to California, they added a 12th. Imagine having birthed 12 children at the age of 37. Together, they raised their children to love God first and family second. This has served Mr. Saffold and his siblings very well, and they remain extremely close. Mr. Saffold was raised in California, attended kindergarten in Los Angeles. His family then moved to Stockton, where he attended George Washington Elementary School, John Marshall Junior High, and Thomas Edison High. Along the way, he was elected student body president and senior class vice president. Additionally, Mr. Saffold's future as a successful above-average athlete was born, nourished, and refined. During his senior year of high school, Mr. Saffold received full athletic scholarship offers from a number of colleges based on his athletic achievements in high school. He accepted the offer from San Jose State and played Spartan basketball for 4 years. Additionally, since he was 6 units short of his undergraduate degree after 4 years, he was awarded a 5th-year scholarship to play Spartan football. This is how he started his graduate study towards earning a teaching credential. Mr. Saffold's formal athletic career ended with him playing professional football part of the season with the San Diego Chargers and a full season with the Cincinnati Bengals. During his junior high, senior high, college, and professional careers, he earned many athletic awards and honors. Today, Mr. Saffold looks back on those years with a good deal of pride. However, the sense of pride is surpassed by the pride and joy he feels when he is told or otherwise hears that something he has done or said has helped someone to rise above any negativity they may have experienced in their lives. His 35 years working at San Jose State provided him with the opportunity to positively impact the lives of countless students as they pursued their academic and career goals. Mr. Saffold's SJSU professional career started in fall 1969. He was hired to be the assistant director of one of the two, at the time, Educational Opportunity Programs, also known as EOP. The primary purpose of this program was to identify, recruit, and admit to the campus students we deemed to be highly motivated, but who were academically underqualified for regular admission. The program provided them with access to both cultural and academic support services. While there were some who did not succeed, this is the case with regular admits also, there were many stories, and there were many success stories, and this will always be a source of great pride for Mr. Saffold. There were many, many other similar experiences which grew out of the several positions Mr. Saffold ascended to at SJSU. Those positions afforded him a level of influence which in turn enabled him to have some impact on policies and procedures related to students' lives on campus. In the interest of time and space, here is a list of the positions to which Mr. Saffold has served at San Jose State. Director of the Black Educational Opportunity Program, Associate Dean of Student Services, University Ombudsman, Associate Vice President of Student Affairs, University Ombudsman, Associate Vice President for Student Affairs, Interim Vice President for Student Affairs, first Black SJSU Vice President for 2 years, and Associate Vice President for Student Affairs. Please join me in welcoming Mr. S.T. Saffold to share some words with us. Mr. Saffold, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
There. That better?
Yes.
Okay. I was sitting here watching my notes while I was listening to you. And so there's going to be some redundancy, and I hope you'll forgive me for that. I want to say just a couple of points. I'm a stickler for accuracy, especially when it relates to or refers to any accomplishments on my part. I prefer to have it be completely accurate, as completely as possible. To wit, I was not the Associated Students President for my high school. I was simply, if you will, the assistant or the vice president for my senior class. And later, when I started working in the EOP program, there were two EOPs, one primarily for Black students and the other primarily, and I emphasize the word primarily because it was not exclusively, primarily for Chicano students. And I think it was in 1972-73 that we finally merged both programs and administrations for both. And that is what you have today. Let me say too, I want to thank the AS Board of Directors for seeing fit some 16 or 17 years after I retired to continue to honor me, and I always say by extension my family, by naming this scholarship and continuing to name the scholarship in my name. And I always am very quick to clarify. I have spoken at most of the award ceremonies, and to my kind of embarrassment, unintentional on the recipient's part, the recipients have come to me thanking me for their awards. And I'm very quick, and I want to kind of get that out there right away up front tonight. I am very quick to inform them that unfortunately, I do not have the kind of resources to come out of my own pocket to provide the scholarships. I certainly would. That's just my level of commitment. But that they should instead make sure that they thank the members of the AS board for their awards. That said, I did some asking when Christy first called me and asked me to speak. I wanted to know what kind of things should I address. This being virtual, I listen to myself, and one of the questions I always ask myself when I speak, would I be interested? Would I be listening to this old guy talking about things that, you know, I may or may not be interested in? What would I be interested in? And so Christy shared with me a few things, and I'd like to kind of touch on those, and excuse any redundancy that I might add to you know, what you have so graciously spoken about me already. The one thing that is really important to me, and I've kind of governed my life and my career aspirations and all of the positions that I have had at San Jose State specifically, towards this end, and that is the idea of leadership and what good leadership is. And I guess more along with what it is, the importance of good leadership. One of my experiences was that it provided me with the ability, and I think this is true across the board to leaders, provided me with the ability to make, influence, and impact decisions and policies, procedures, rules that affect and impact the lives on campus of the students that we're serving. And doing so in a positive way. In other words, providing the information, the push, the various other resources that a student may need that you can provide, making sure to the best of my ability, because I was not a dictator at any point, making sure to the best of my ability that those needs get addressed, that policies and procedures, rules, when they're created, they're very sensitive to the fact that, for example, in drawing on my own experiences as a student, we make mistakes. Students will make mistakes coming to the campus, especially if that's into your first year, your first semester. If you are a voracious reader, you can read all the policies, in the catalog or the other information that spells that out for students. But the chances of, average student doing that, I think realistically, is that it's not realistic. And so the policies and procedures that the university has must have some flexibility. The ability to impact, influence those policies and procedures then will allow, and did allow me to have a significant role in making sure that I exercise the leadership that my positions, various positions, put me in. I have kind of identified what a good leader is in very simplistic terms, and conversely, what I would term, quote unquote, a bad leader. And it's very simply, the good leader primarily focuses on what is best for the others who are in need, be they students or, in most any situation, the leader of the folks, if you will again work to develop policies and so forth that help those persons move from where they are, wherever that is in their life, to where they want to be. If that goal is a BA, BS degree, if it's a master's, if it's a PhD, whatever that goal is for them, a good leader who is one who has some influence and impact in the lives of those students in this particular scenario will work towards that end. And to that extent will be selfless, unlike the bad leader, as I've defined. The bad leader focuses primarily on what's best or beneficial or in the best interest of him or her. Be that, increasing their wealth, increasing their influence, using their power, whatever that is. They are the focus, not the client, the students that they're serving, in terms of whatever they do in exercising that leadership. That being said, I'd like to, and I recognize that a significant part of the scholarship that bears my name looks to leadership and the extent to which those of you who are receiving that award, have done things to exercise that or to demonstrate that leadership. With that in mind, I would then urge you all to continue to build on your demonstrated commitment to leadership and service. And from personal experience, I can say this, the rewards and the satisfaction can be truly priceless. No amount of money can sufficiently reward me for the feedback that I've gotten from the students who have gone through, and let me say this as an aside, those students, many of those students who went through the EOP program in my early years of employment are themselves parents and grandparents by now. And my reward is when they meet, and there is an alumni of that group that meets once a year at San Jose State. I believe they're still doing it. When they approach me and um, give me what I would say is more credit than I feel I deserve, but attribute their success or a significant part of their success to what I did for them. And again, I think they overdo it, and I'm very quick to correct them and let them know that for most of them, most all of them, while it is true that I got them to San Jose State when they maybe would not have been able to get in on their own, but that they themselves, through their efforts, through their using the services that the program provided, they got through San Jose State, and many on to master's and doctoral degrees. Mind you, they were students who were academically underprepared to come here in the first place. I say here, I'm still a Spartan. I can't get that out of my mind. It was also suggested that I address some of the changes that I observed. And while I have not been close enough to the university, my wife and I live in Sacramento, to observe changes that have taken place, certainly not all of the changes that have taken place at San Jose State since 2004, the year of my retirement. I can certainly address that, and I've attempted to do so up to and including all of my years at San Jose State. And I'm always very quick to say that my association as a Spartan started in 1962. It ended in a physical sense that I was not present on the campus 42 years later in 2004 when I retired. So I will kind of look at all of that very briefly. In 1962, when I came to the campus, I found that it was academically and administratively seriously lacking in diversity, both among the students and among the faculty, the staff, and the administration. I do not recall seeing more than one or two individuals, and this includes members of the janitorial staff at the time, but no more than one or two individuals who looked like me. It was, again, to reiterate, not a very diverse campus. And it was a reflection of the community at the time as well. So it was a college campus, kind of a college town, if you will. And the discrimination was kind of pervasive. It was a different time for us. There was no ethnic studies programs, no EOPs, no other special programs for women, etc. There may have been 30 Black students on campus, and most of us were scholarship athletes. So were it not for the athletic program and the scholarships, we would not have been on campus, or at least most of us would not have. Very few Mexican-American Chicano students and other Latinos on campus. The same can be said to a lesser extent because they were the largest non-white group on campus. The same then can be true or can be said about the Asian American students. And when I say students, I mean faculty, staff, administrators as well. The one thing about the Asian American students, and I had a number of them who were my friends, both from my hometown and towns around my hometown that I had known for some years. within that whole category of Asian American students, they lumped in the Japanese students, the Chinese students, and the Filipino students. And I would dare say, although I don't have the records to reflect that, but that Pacific Islanders, those were also lumped in, if you will, into the category of being Asian Americans. That has all changed, obviously. By the mid-60s, the groups began to focus on growing and enhancing the presence of students and faculty and staff and administrators from their respective communities. They began to say, I want to see me at the various levels on this campus, because I know that there are folks who look like me in each one of these groups that I've mentioned, who are out there, who are qualified to be here. And so that cry went out. A result of that was that the ethnic studies programs in the late 60s, I think it was 1967, 68, began to appear and received some semblance of support from the university in terms of space and resource and other financial resources and so forth. In the 70s, and I'm not going to go through each one of the decades, but starting with the 70s, affirmative action, I don't know whether many of you have heard of that moniker, but affirmative action came on the scene. And it was designed to reverse the non-diversity, if you will, on the campus, and to address that by going out and recruiting and, in an ideal way, hiring students from, or I'm sorry, employees from each of those communities. There was some backlash to affirmative action. It was called reverse discrimination by those who were opposed to it because they felt that it was a threat to their employment opportunities as well. And it has persisted, though. It grew more during the 80s and the 90s and up until the point that I retired. I suspect that without using the moniker, if you will, then again, of affirmative action, the efforts are there. I sense from a distance, but from communication with my former colleagues who are still there, few, that the university has certainly reflected a commitment in terms of diversifying the employees on the campus at all levels. And I'm really encouraged by that. Challenges that, and this is my last point, the challenges that you as students are facing. I try to relate to, as I talk to my granddaughter, who is a student there, and I am so proud that she earned, not by my name, but earned her scholarship from my, if you will, my category, or I hate that, that doesn't sound right to me as I say it, my category. I've gotten some information, from her. I've been able to observe when I come and visit her, some of the changes, some of the challenges that students have now that we didn't have. We didn't have to deal with virtual learning. I don't know how me and my peers would have dealt with it. I suppose we would have adjusted. That's what students do. That's what you've done. Virtually, I think I would suspect that it's a challenge for each of you, that there is virtually no daily interaction with other students in a normal sense, where you're floating across the campus as you experienced that last year and before. That, to me, I would see that as leaving a huge void in your college experience. And being a helping kind of a person and having that be such a prominent part of my focus, I wish there was something that I could do to change that. But that's, again, it will continue to be a wish. No sporting event attendance. I understand from my granddaughter that students are prohibited from going to football games. And, my recollection, and I think for those of you who've been there a few years, you can easily recall, years past where that was something big. Certainly the aftermath of the parties, if they're anything like we used to have I refer to as the good old days. Very few student paid student jobs on campus available. That's an adjustment. That's a challenge, a void that has to be addressed. So again, I just congratulate each of you for your resilience, your perseverance, and doggedness, if you will, in dealing with these challenges. The application process, as you mentioned, is very competitive this year. So to come through that process, you're again to be congratulated, successfully through that process, because that says a lot about you. And as an end, if you will, there's one thing that's very close to my heart that I just want to share with you. I have no idea, obviously, as to the relationships that you share or have with your parents or your guardians. And I can only assume that, they've been very supportive, etc. I want to leave you with this urging, though, and I certainly wish that I had listened, because I'm sure that others had told me the same thing. I always say, make sure that you thank your parents and guardians for all that they've done in supporting you throughout your life to this point. You'll appreciate it. Trust me, as an old guy, you'll certainly appreciate it later, and you'll look back on it. And if you have not done that, there will be a level of regret, because I guarantee you that you are a big part of their hearts. And very last point, and I wish again that I could turn back my clock and follow this advice. I would want to respectfully suggest that you ask your parents, grandparents, guardians, but specifically, especially parents and grandparents, for periodic, what I call sit downs, and I put that in quotes, just you with them, to exclusively talk about your family's history. I wish I had done that. It will really mean a lot when you look back on it. There's a richness that is invariably there in the history of each family that you will want to pass on to your offspring and your grandchildren, as the case may be. So in the African tradition, the person that shares that information with all of the coming generations is called an egrod, or I'm not getting it right. I want to say egot, but that is a person who is the historian, and the history was recorded orally, not in written form. That was the tradition. So I would urge you to do that. Find time. When I was at San Jose State, I can remember the countless times that I went back to Stockton and visited with my mother. And then I would proceed to go directly to my girlfriend's house across town and spend time with her. My girlfriend, by the way, at the time was not my wife that I'm currently approaching 50 years of marriage with. She was also, my girlfriend at the time, was also from Stockton and lived across town. And rather than going and visiting with my mom, I went to my girlfriend's house, enjoyed the time, but my girlfriend was also a student at San Jose State, so we saw each other every day. And so, you know, I just urge you to think about that and seriously consider finding that sit-down time with parent or parents, grandparent or grandparents, and just get a sense of family history. You will appreciate it. For one last time, I know I've said it a few times already, congratulations to all of you recipients of the various scholarship awards tonight. I feel, not knowing you, nonetheless, because of the process that you've gone through, that you're very deserving, very much deserving of it. My congratulations to you, and may you have the best of luck in whatever your future endeavors are. The end?
Thank you so much, Mr. Saffold. We really, I know I can't speak for everybody, but I know I really appreciate everything you shared. And, you know, I'm there with you in the sense of Spartan pride. I'm very proud of being a soon-to-be SJSU alum. And I think it's really important for us to know the history of our campus. You know, one of the things that we really pride ourselves is in how diverse we are. But it's really interesting to know that it wasn't always the case. And it took a lot of fighting for us to be the amazing campus that we are today. So thank you for that little bit of history and for all your great advice.
Thank you, and thanks for inviting me. I appreciate this every year. My thanks to Christy. She's the person that contacts me, and I thought I saw her picture on the screen, but not. But please relate that to her for me.
Absolutely.
Does this excuse me, or?
You are more than welcome to stay. We will now be announcing the recipients per each category, but if you also have to head out, that's totally understandable as well.
I would certainly like, I am retired, and I would like to just stay here.
That's
And yes.
Sounds good. All right. Now moving on to the exciting part. So AS Scholarships 2020-2021. Associated Student Scholarship recipients demonstrate exemplary leadership and involvement in campus and community life, including student organization, sports, campus committees, volunteerism, community and civic activism. This year, a total of $70,000 was awarded to our deserving and admirable Spartans.
Wow. Wonderful.
So I will start off by reading off the AS Legacy Award recipients. Please excuse me if I mispronounce or butcher your name. That is not my intention. I'm going to do the best that I can. So our AS Legacy Award recipients will receive $1,500, and they will be awarded because they are students who encourage optimism and create a legacy through exemplary leadership, support, academic and extracurricular involvement, and contribution for the betterment of the campus and the community. And this year recipients are Angelina Alvarez, Said Pacuacual, Belisa Pui, Elaine de los Reyes, Lawrence Deng, Nessa Noel Diamante, Ariadna Hernandez, Marcus Hung, Diana Neri, Kayla Nguyen, Sabrina On, Prashawa Piacurel, Esperanza Rosas, Joe Strong, and Lisa Wong. Congratulations to you all. Next, we will have our Director of Academic Affairs, Anoop Kaur, read out those who will be receiving the ST Saffold Leadership Scholarship Award.
Thank you, Controller Saria, for that introduction. This scholarship is named after St. Saffold, a well-recognized and honored SJSU alum. The scholarship is awarded to students who embody true SJSU leadership, inspiring peers to make a difference and to bring passion in helping others. I have the honor and privilege of reading the recipients' names here today. Please excuse me if I mispronounce any of your names. Mahalit Abraham, Tasneem Al-Sharif, Otmar Alvarado, Kristen Blair, Samuel Bland, Shannon Campano, Patricia Islas, Cameron McAllister, Michaela Polly, Michaela Saffold Collins, Sarah Stickwell, Jessica Traver, Yvette Vaca, Rahel Dia Bizegi, Kalina Zamora. Congratulations on your scholarships.
Next, we will have our Director of Business Affairs, Kylie Kim, to read off the AS Advocacy Award recipients.
Okay, hi everyone. So this award goes to students who strongly advocate for social justice through diverse forms of civic engagement, such as volunteer work and public activism, to create a more socially conscious and campus community. So the first one goes to Anlao Diokno, Angelique Kennedy, Selena Mingfield, Navikiran Saini, Allah Salim, Irish Schmidt, Shaida Shahinfar, Mohammed Motahedian Tabrizi, Nicole Walker, and Minna Wu. Congratulations, everyone.
Next, we will have two of our directors read off the recipients of the AS First Generation Student Scholarships, and we will start off with our Director of, Nina, remind me your role again. I'm so sorry, I'm blanking.
Oh, Director of Student Resource Affairs.
Thank you. Our Director of Student Resource Affairs, Nina Chuang.
I think Delilah will read the first.
Oh, okay.
list.
Delilah, you can go ahead and kick it off.
All right, good evening, everyone. I will be reading off, good evening to all you recipients. I will be reading your names as follows, but before, I just want to introduce this scholarship. The AS First Generation Student Scholarship is awarded to students who are first in their family to attend college. The awardee is a role model for future first generation students, supports the success of peers, and acts as a mentor and support for the youth. And the names are as follows: Andrew Alcacos, Alejandro Anaya Lau, Daniela Basan, Marie-Louise Bugay, Dariana Chow, Victoria Garcia, Sean Hartshorn, Miguel Hernandez, Ariana Hernandez.
Nancy Martin, Madeline Medina, Leticia Nunez, Andreas Ortiz Perez, Mariah Parker, Asun Sena Reyes, Cynthia Salinas Gordano, Gladys Santos Vasquez, Namara Sanjita Tamang, Stephanie Torres.
And now I will be reading off the recipients of our last scholarship, the AS Global Scholar Award. awarded to students who understand the importance of social, political, environmental, or economic issues on a worldwide scale, and who have the passion to explore international cultures and societies. And this award goes to Julian Elliott, Allison Elmore, Maya Foster, Madison Isaac, Kayla Japson, Sienna Kwan, Victor Liu, Nasreen Rohim, Mar Adrian Santos, and Megan Stewart. Again, congratulations to all of our recipients. And now it's time for what I'm most excited for, which is the opportunity for all of you to share your stories or maybe a few words if you would like to. I have here a couple of you who said yes to sharing your stories. So I'm going to call off your name. And if you are here, feel free to unmute yourself and just share anything that you would like to share with us on how this scholarship may benefit you, or maybe how excited you are for receiving the scholarship, anything that you want to share with us. So representing the AS Legacy Award, we have Saeed Bakwala. Are you?
Yes. Hi everyone, my name is Saeed Bakalakil, and I'm an international student. I'm from Yemen, and my major is industrial and system engineering. I'm a senior. Next semester is gonna be my last semester. So thank you so much for choosing me for this scholarship. Thank you, especially for the time, since with the pandemic, like everyone, impact from the pandemic, like the whole world was in the lockdown stage. So that affect my dad. He has like his own business, so it was hard for him. I know it. It's since it's gonna be my last semester, I was wishing and hoping I could help him like in any way. So when I applied for the scholarship and when I received the email that I got accepted, I cried because I could help my dad because I know it's hard for him, especially with the pandemic and everything. So thank you so much for choosing me, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. That was super touching. I'm so happy that this scholarship is in some way, shape, or form going to be able to alleviate some financial stress that current circumstances have placed on all of us. Next, Esti Saffold, we have Otmar Alvarado. Are you here?
Yes, I am. And what I would like to say is that this year taught me the meaning of the word resilience. And I'm sure all of us can remember back in March when we thought the lockdown was only going to be a week long, and it got longer and longer and longer. And in between those moments of frenzied studying, and just constant wonderment, I think all of us here today realize how convalescent and determined we are in making a difference, not only for ourselves, but for our community. And I mean, if this has been a year of revolution, upheaval, and uncertainty, but, thanks to support like this scholarship and the students and faculty forming an academic family, we can just keep pushing forward, and we can meet challenges head on with our heads held high. And I just want to quote Huey P. Newton real quick. I have the people behind me, and the people are my strength. And, when we have everybody behind us, supporting us, we can do whatever we put our minds to. Thank you.
Y'all are so amazing. Thank you, Omar, for being vulnerable and sharing with us. Again, I don't know how familiar y'all are with associated students, but one of the reasons why I do what I do is because I love seeing the impact that it has on students. So it brings me so much joy to see that this is really going to help all of you out. Next for advocacy is Annaline Dionho with us. No? What about Naviran? Does anybody who received a scholarship for AS advocacy want to say a few words?
Yes, well, I'm very thankful for the scholarship. I've gone to San Jose State for my undergraduate, and now I'm in my graduate studies and getting my credential. And it's a blessing to receive this scholarship, and also just being acknowledged to just being a leader, because that's I don't take that lightly. I hold that because I do work in the special education field, and like Omar was saying, it was 1 week of Zoom. Now we're almost 9 or 10 months in, and it goes really quick. And I have beautiful students, and I'm just trying to be the best teacher, the best person, and just trying to grow it each and every day. And this reward is, helping my classroom to get the resources and, the things that, because I love to give back to the students. I try to motivate them and to give them incentives right now. So this money is very, it's just very valuable, just to be used in my classroom, but also to help build a strong environment and nurturing environment.
Thank you, Samuel, for sharing. And I think a reoccurring theme that I'm hearing from all of you is y'all are using this money to help others. And I think that's so amazing. And it speaks volumes to why y'all were chosen. It's because y'all are so selfless and, put your community and your loved ones before you. And I think that that's just remarkable. And it speaks volumes on who y'all are as students, because I know that as a student, we're struggling right now because money's tight, especially with COVID. And so the fact that y'all think about others first, I think that that's really special. First gen, do we have Cynthia Salinas?
Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia Salinas. I think it's so touching to hear all those wonderful stories. I think everyone has a unique story. And these are the stories that we are going to share with others to help them in their career, in their educational career, to motivate them. We see so many motivational speakers and, they make so much riches out of that. And they write books and they do so much speeches, they go to TED Talks and everything. But we are our own motivational speaker, right? And this is so great that there are organizations, student organizations like Associated Students at San Jose State to help students. And this is so great. So thank you so much for this award. It just makes me feel so proud to know that first generation students are acknowledged for their determination and their effort. And it's the organizations like these that sort of push them. And sometimes we do need a push because the people around us don't know anything about the educational career path. So thank you so much, AS. Thank you so much for being at San Jose State and even having mentors like Mr. Scaffold here. I think it's such a great privilege to be part of this group. And I think there's going to be more people that are going to be coming in the future, right? Before in the past, I didn't see that, but I know in the future there's going to be more. So thank you so much for everyone that has organized this event. I'm sure this is not going to be the last event. There's going to be more. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. And I totally resonate with what you just said. Me being a first gen student, I know that I would have not been this close to ending my undergraduate career had it not been for all the help I got along the way. And being first gen is so special, right? Because we really elevate all the sacrifices our family members made to get us to where we are today. So I know I'm graduating in the spring, and it's a little bit heartbreaking to think of the fact that I may not have a commencement, but just knowing that I'm going to be the first woman in my family to have a college degree is remarkable. So I totally resonate with everything you just said, and thank you for sharing your story. Lastly, we have Global Scholar. Is Nasreen Rohim with us? What about Julian Elliott? Does anybody from the Global Scholar Award want to say a few words with us? Does anybody else, regardless of which scholarship you received, want to say a few words or maybe share your story?
Yes, I'd like to. Hi, everyone. I'm Kalina. It's such a pleasure sharing this moment with everyone here. I'm honored to receive one of the AS Saffold Leadership Scholarship Awards. It has brought financial relief to my educational expenses and has allowed me to focus on concluding my incredible academic journey. I've been recognized for all that I've done as a leader, but tonight I'd like to recognize the ones who have empowered and supported me throughout my San Jose State experience. I'm humbly honored to be my parents' daughter. I admire their leadership in the San Jose community. They have taught me discipline, passion, and resilience. You both are my role models, and I strive to honor these core values every day. I would also like to recognize El Centro's Comunidad, another place I call home. My friends and colleagues of El Centro, Elisa Aquino and Yesenia Guzman. You gave room for my vulnerabilities and you showered me with support. Thank you for being such inspiring leaders in the Chicanx comunidad. Dr. Catherine Harris, one of my former English professors, I'd like to thank you for your generosity. You have shown me what's possible in the world of literature, and that's priceless. I've learned to see the world through different lenses of reality and learn to lead with my best foot forward. I truly cherish the time I've spent in your course. And lastly, my wife. You are my inspiration and fortitude. You've taught me to step out of my comfort zone, take risk, and continue through life like there was only one chance to get it right. Gracias a todos por creer en mí. Thank you all for believing in me. See, I've come from a family of leaders, and it is my honor to not only continue San Jose State's core values of leadership, but inspire the ones that will soon follow to make a difference in this world. Thank you.
I love that, Kalina. And a fun fact about me, I actually started my student leadership journey with the Chicanx Latinx Student Success Center. So I hear you when you shout out the center, because I know what an amazing space it is for students, especially for first gen, for students who identify within the Latinx community. And I really credit them, with as being kind of like my introduction to everything I've done and to the reason why I've been able to serve as a leader in other capacities. So does anybody else want to share their stories?
Sure. Most may not know me, but that's okay. My name is Lawrence Ding. I'm a fourth year here at San Jose State and a legacy award scholar for this. Some of the things I've kind of learned through my life is about like some of like those problems, some of the trust issues that people have, and most of the times how I'd see is like so many people that didn't enjoy it would just walk away from it and don't want to talk about it. This has been an issue around my time back when I was like a student, young back in the day. But one thing I learned from that life is that just because these people have that life doesn't mean others deserve that life. And I've also learned it from a literal and a moral point of view, that something's got to change, and if no one's going to do it, then someone's going to stand up for it. And that's been the work I've been doing. And most of the times, sometimes learning things in a classroom is learning something in the classroom. It's not just about learning something in the classroom. College life is still about kind of expand from what you can get from it. And one of the things I've done is that I've been working really hard to try at least show like that there is still hope left in a broken world. But the question is, are you willing to stand up for it? And that's this thing I've learned both before I graduated from my former high school, and that's what I've learned now. And that today, at this time, a lot of people are starting to be awake about this political process stuff. That's kind of one part of it. And the second thing I learned from it is that are you gonna do something, teach these students how to do the right thing and do something that they've never done before? That's a very, really important part of it. And honestly, I do get a lot of criticism from my friends, mostly that have also graduated the same year as me, which is kind of a concern. But in the end, the work I applied for 4 scholarships here, and for one part, winning the legacy award to say like what kind of future we all want. The work really paid off, and I'm really glad. I'm really grateful for this opportunity to achieve this win. But it mostly started off from the struggles I had from the start, and where most people are finally understanding that who how everyone can at least make a difference in the end. Authenticity matters. Showing honesty matters, and for the last part, proving that you're different from everyone can really make a difference. And sad that right now that we can't do it right now, but hopefully once this pandemic is over, hopefully I get to go back and do the same thing. Thank you.
Really well said, Lawrence. And, I agree with you. I think that a lot of the learnings for me haven't been inside the classroom. They have been outside the classroom via the, organizations I'm involved with or the leadership roles that I take on. And I think, going to the point of, receiving criticism, I think you're always going to get that regardless of what you're doing. So just keep doing you. You're right. I didn't know you before this, but now that I do, I can tell that you're going to be doing amazing things. So, you do you. Anyone else would like to share?
I'd like to share one last thing, if it's all right. Everyone, my name's Andrew Keikos. I was a recipient for the First Generation Award, and I wrote a little something that I just want to share. As a first generation Middle Eastern student, it's important to work hard in order to honor the sacrifices laid before me. Family and others worked hard to give first generation students like myself the opportunity to attend a university and obtain a degree, which ultimately gives me a better life, and I'm sure all of us hear that too. However, being a first generation student coming into university definitely has some uncertainty attached to it. Many students whose parents have not gone to a college or university may lack knowledge revolving around how college works as a whole. At first, it may be scary, but San Jose State provides fantastic resources that have benefited myself and many other students. Coming into school in my first couple of years as a mechanical engineering student, everything was happening so fast, and there was a lot of confusion that I had with school. But through visiting the library workshops and many other various resources, I felt confident in myself as a student. The faculty here have also been extremely helpful and have encouraged me to attend SJSU career fairs and resume workshops to help build on my professional life. I would love to name them all, but my list would be really long as I've met so much fantastic people throughout my 4 years. San Jose State has provided me with resources that I need to be successful, and for that I am extremely grateful. Now that I'm embarking on my senior year and having received the AS First Generation Scholarship Award, I can secure myself financially for my final year of my bachelor's degree. It's a great feeling to have, knowing that you have that peace of mind that you don't need to worry about economic stability. So for me, I can just feel comfortable knowing that I won't have that barrier where I'm not going to be worried about money. And so I can be confident to buy any engineering software and textbooks and anything else. The road as a first generation student has its challenges, and it's definitely a scary journey into an unknown area, but San Jose State has ultimately helped guide me and many other students along the way towards success. Thank you for the scholarship, and thank you for listening, and I'm really grateful to be here with everyone.
Thank you so much for sharing, Andrew. Again, I'm right there with you. I know that, being a first gen student, sometimes it feels easier to quit. And I know because I've been there than to pull through and, finish, but we're out here doing it. And I think it's so remarkable that, in a few years and a few semesters, you'll be the first in your family to hold a college degree, but hopefully not the last. And I think kudos to you for setting that precedent, being the one to break the generational cycles of, for whatever reason, not being able to attend school, whether it be because of finances or whatever the case may be. You're going to be the first one to be able to say, I did it. And as a result, the rest of your family is going to be able to have that choice. So congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anyone else want to share their stories? I love hearing all of this.
Sure, if no one else wants to go. So hi, I'm Victoria. I was also a recipient of the AS First Generational Scholarship. So thank you all very much. I can't express how grateful I am for having been awarded this scholarship. I was born in Mexico, and my parents brought me over here when I was young. And I was privileged enough to be documented when I was, just a few days old, and I'm forever grateful that they, were able to do that for me. And growing up, they always said, go to school and do good, and you'll be a lot better off than, how we were, back at home and here. And I did listen to them, and sometimes I was like, well, school's okay, but I don't know what I want to do with my life, things like that. but I continued on, and I came to San Jose State, and I'm just so in love with learning. Like, in all my classes, I find something so interesting to like learn about. And it's because of them that I'm here. It's because of their sacrifices that I'm here where I am today. So I'm eternally grateful for them, for pushing me. And even though sometimes I would question them and say, oh, okay, I'll see. If it hadn't been for their encouragement, their motivation, I wouldn't have the opportunities that I have today. Also, when I was in high school, when I was a senior and I was applying for college and all that, I was also applying for scholarships. And sadly, I never won any at that age. Or I didn't win any at that age. So I was a bit disillusioned with the idea of applying for scholarships and things like that. So when I was notified that I won this one, this is one of the first that I've won like ever. I was surprised. I couldn't even believe it for a while because I thought, wait, really? So it's a very fulfilling and satisfying feeling that associated students like believed in me and awarded me the scholarship, because now like I am paying for my education on my own, and I don't want to burden my parents with anything like that. So it has really helped me, to pay for this semester, to pay for next semester. And I'm just a lot better off this year than I thought I would be, considering everything that's going on. So I am so grateful for, the award, for being here. Thank you for providing this platform for us. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And Victoria, again, I really resonate with you. And I think it brings me back to the point that Mr. Southall was trying to make. And, really thanking our parents. My parents, my mom, she's illiterate. She can't read or write at all. My dad, he went to school up to the 3rd grade. And somehow these two remarkable human beings gave me everything I needed to get to where I am today, right? And my mom, she's so silly. She tells me, Mija, like, you're doing so well, but I need to ask you for a favor. And I was like, what's up, Mom? And she's like, don't ever be ashamed of me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm so proud. I'm like honored to call you my mom. And she's like, yeah, but like you're in college now and you're well dressed and I'm this field worker. And I'm like, and like, I couldn't have picked a better mom. Like if God or, greater being told me like, who do you want to be your mom? I would choose her again, hands down. So I'm there with you in really, just honoring our parents because they are remarkable. Anybody else want to share their stories?
If there's quick.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. You wouldn't feel right if I just left without saying anything. But hi, my name is Kaylin Wen. I'm a graduating public health major, and I wanted to say thank you to Associated Students for awarding me this scholarship. And like Victoria, I was really surprised that I got this award. And as a graduating senior, the scholarship is helpful for me because I would like to further my studies in public health in order to learn about communities and to keep individuals and communities healthy, safe, and well. So further education is not cheap. So thank you for helping me out on that. In relation to the specific award that I received, which is the AS Legacy Award, I have been active in many organizations on campus, which have really taught me that San Jose State University is filled with amazing and hardworking and caring people. Also, that it's a college that supports student growth and prepares students for professional development. So, and a last quick shout out is to my family and friends and my peers for supporting me. So again, thank you all for making this night special for all of the scholarship recipients.
Thank you, Kayla, for sharing. And, I must say, I think the AS Legacy Award is one of my favorite awards just because San Jose State has this ongoing theme of like, live your legacy, right? And so I think that all of y'all, whether you receive the AS Legacy or not, in some way, shape, or form, you have had a legacy or left a legacy because, y'all were picked for these scholarships. And again, all of our applicants were special, but y'all were extra special. Does anybody else have a story they want to share?
I'd like to say a few words.
Absolutely.
All right, yeah, sorry, my camera is broken. I'm on my phone. So so when I received the email that I got this award, I was like so relieved because I had not expected it. And and during these times, it's so difficult to everyone. And especially as I'm an international student, it is, there's some pressure on my parents for, uh, sending me money, and like this award, this really helped me, and I'm more stress free now, and whenever like I'll be facing any obstacle in the future, I can look back at this moment and like think, okay, I mean, I've gotten some recognition in the past, and I can do the same in the future. So this will be a very inspirational moment for me, and thank you so much for this award.
Thank you, Prajwal, for sharing. I think, extra kudos to you for being an international student. I think, every student went through something because of, everything going on, but I think international students, y'all went through, a little bit of a tougher time. So if there's anything I can ever help you with, don't hesitate to reach out. Anyone else want to share their story? Going once. Going twice. All right, well, thank y'all so much for sharing your stories, being vulnerable. I really appreciate it. And honestly, I think hearing this is what makes the work that Associated Students does worthwhile, because we really are here to support and represent all of you. And so I'm so full right now. I can't even emphasize it. I think it's also special for me as a student to be here with y'all as a student, right? Sharing that moment. So thank y'all so much for taking the time to be with us today. Now I will pass it on to our Executive Director, Carol Dowell, for the closing remarks.
Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. I have a little speech prepared, but after hearing all of you, this is why I do this work, really, to be able to provide for students and to hear your story, to see that what we do make a difference in your life, in the life of all students. So really thank you for attending tonight's reception. I want to congratulate you all again for receiving the scholarship. You are very deserving of all of that. We had about 1,300 applications. So, and I think we gave 70 to 78 students about. So imagine, so you be proud of yourself. Really, you can be proud of yourself and your accomplishment and your journey, how you get to where you are right now. And I hope this funding, I know it's still, it's small funding, but I hope it will help you further your academic achievement, help you to finish your journey here at San Jose State and further. Associated Student is committed to student success. And even during this difficult time, we continue to strive to provide program and service to support students and to help them have a positive Spartan experience. I encourage you to take advantage of all that AS has to offer, get involved with AS or other organizations to further your development, but also don't hesitate to share your story and to share with your student peer about your scholarship, because it helps you and then it will help others. And the more we spread the word, there's a lot of things that AS do and a lot of students have no idea. So just, reach out to one another and share what you experience here, because you'll gain something. And for us, we're going to continue to give as much as we can to all of you to help you be at San Jose State. There's a quote that I want to share with you. It's from Ayanla Vazan. And the way to achieve your own success is to be willing to help somebody else get it first. And it's really resonating what we do at AS. We're not like in my job, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for all the students of San Jose State. Try to provide how can we continue to help students be successful. What do we need to provide them to make it a little bit easier on them in their journey? So really, once again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Good luck on your finals. If for those that this is your last semester, congratulations on your, graduation. And if not, for those that graduated in May, congratulations. For those that continue, look for what AS has to offer to you in the future, and don't hesitate to reach out to one of us, reach out to the board of director, like the student, all the directors that are here tonight, introducing some of those awards. They're students like you, they took the risk to run for a position on the board, and they did it, and they are hopefully they're gaining a lot of it that's going to help them to better themselves, but also finish their journey at San Jose State even in a higher note. So and also I know we're in this pandemic, and please be safe for yourself and for the one that you love around you. So have safe holidays, and once again, thank you so much for having even make an application to get this scholarship. And thank you to Flo and her team for this event, for putting this on, because it was very successful. It was nervous. We never had a online scholarship banquet, but we really wanted to take, or Flo really wanted to take the time to have this space to give, to show you like, our thanks and congratulate you instead of just sending you a certificate in the mail. So, yes.
Thank you, Carol. Well, that is it for tonight, y'all. Again, thank y'all so much for taking the time to join us. Please feel free to follow us on our Instagram, on our Facebook. Our director, Core, posted our handles on the chat. Also, again, if you ever need anything, if I can ever be of help, please reach out to me. I'll also drop my email in the chat. I'm usually pretty responsive to email. It was such a great time being with y'all tonight, and I'll be here for a couple more minutes, but other than that, y'all are free to go.
I just want to ask, so when's the Grubhub coupon coming or something from what was stated in the email?
Carol, you want to take that?
Yes. So you should have all received an email today with Grubhub, right? And it asks you to create a password so then you can have an account. Later on, so between the window of 6 to 8 p.m., if you go on Grubhub, you order. When you get to the end, when you click payment, or what the word at the bottom, like make your payment or something like this, then that's when it show up. It should show up as on the side. It should say scholarship reception, $20 limit, and you should see that. And I did it while you all were talking, and that's what it showed at the end. You don't have to use a coupon or number or anything like this. So if it didn't work, send us an email and we will get you something afterwards. But if you try like this, it should work at the end. It's not going to have you to enter a coupon. It's when you go to click on payment, that on the side it should say AS, or maybe not AS, but scholarship reception, something like that.
All right, thank you.
Congrats, everyone.
Congrats, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you so much.
Well done, Floor.
Yes, and thank you, Mr. Paul, for being here and sharing your nice words always.
Kayla, our marketing team is gonna upload the recording to the our AS YouTube channel. You can find it there, the recording.
Perfect, thank you.
Of course, have a good night.
You too, bye.
Bye.
Thank you, ST.
Thank you, ST.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I enjoyed it.
Well, it sounds like everybody enjoyed listening to you too.
Oh, I certainly hope so. Hope I didn't bore people to death.
Not your words.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's very nice of you to say that.
All right, you guys.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Thank y'all so much.
Bye.
Bye.
I think things went really well, so just
I'm
wanted
so
you to know.
happy with the turnout.
Congrats, Floor.
Thank you.
You know what's nice is this is a little test for when you do the Spartan Showcase. So,
Yeah.
so we can take this experience and try to redo it again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Good night, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.